British. Yeah, right. Please welcome the man who loves the Act of Union, Mr. Iain Lee.
Sorry, a bit late. Hello. Thank you. Hello there. Thank you very much. Sorry, busy back there. Hello and welcome to the 11 o'clock show. Now, Tony Blair wants us to celebrate being British. But what is there to celebrate in today's Britain? Well, every morning, the first thing I see is a brutal scene of depressing ugliness. I've got a mirrored ceiling. I've got a mirrored ceiling. That's better, keep doing that. But is Britain really that great? Well, Greg Rosetsky's a great British sporting triumph until he loses in the second round when he becomes that grinning Canadian twat. But we are not all a nation of losers. I always come first. In fact, I'm now so quick... You must have watched the show before. I think you know where this is going. In fact, I come so quick, I can't get past dialing 0898 before I shoot my load. Let's move on. Still... we have got some top experts. Oh, I'll say that again, exports. We've got hooligans, mad cow disease, and all those tarts ripped to their tits on ecstasy in Ibiza. We salute you girls. No, seriously, in fact, those girls attract millions of pounds of investment, all of it paid in Malibu and Coke. But it still means a massive foreign injection, on all fours behind the kebab shack. The truth is, it's not Tony uniting the Brits at the moment, it's the good old Germans. I mean, let's face it, we will all be running our keys down the side of a BMW when we stagger out of a pub on a Friday night, won't we? Come on! Yay! I don't know one. You know, I'm proud of my country and I think we should save the pound, because if we're not careful, the only thing left with the Queen's head on it will be Prince Philip's cock end. But enough of this patriotic palaver. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the best of British, Miss Daisy Donovan.
Thanks, Iain. Thanks for being... I like that. Now, shame about the British secret agent who left his laptop in a taxi. You have got to feel sorry for him, though. He shouldn't be wandering around looking for a cab. He should be holding a martini in one hand, a gun in the other, operating a radar with his nuts while being halfway up a cellist in a speedboat. I could go on, and in fact...
Yeah, just for once, Daisy, I think maybe you shouldn't. Why don't you tell us what's in tonight's show?
OK, I will do, then. Robbie Williams talks to top reporter Peter Piper, Ben Miller talks Oscars, and as for Iain...
I'll be finding out about the generation gap by talking to a load of old coffin dodgers.
Oh, sweet. Now it's time for the headlines.
Tonight's top stories.
Britney Spears has been taken to hospital after cracking her head open on the set of a new video. Doctors say she's recovering and her breast should go up to a double D cup.
Among the Oscar hopefuls at the weekend were the stars nominated for the new smash hit comedy Honey, I Shrunk Eddie Murphy.
Dr. Alex Comfort, the author of The Joy of Sex, has died. His wife commented that it left her in a very awkward position.
A schoolboy who fell 450 feet off a cliff lost only 3 teeth in the fall. Unfortunately, they came out the back of his arse.
Russia's new president, Vladimir Putin, has already made his mark by demonstrating how he's going to raise funds for his country's beleaguered economy.
Тони, я очень благодарен вам за этот звонок.
That actually happened. As Jack Straw admits that the number of police recruits is falling, a new incentive to join is introduced. 20 minutes of playtime each morning.
In America, a former smoker has been awarded £13 million by a tobacco firm. The dying man said he was pleased with the award, while his close family said they were absolutely ecstatic.
The Pope was in turmoil today when he couldn't decide whether to phone a friend or ask the audience. And those were tonight's headlines.
Music and football have never gone well together.
Just think of Gazza's Fog on the Tyne.
What about Hoddle and Waddle's Diamond Lights?
And, of course, Bewitched's disastrous performance in the '98 Vauxhall Conference. Here's Peter Piper to prove the point.
Oh, you're quite good at football yourself, aren't you?
I'm not too bad. I played down there, actually.
Oh, you've played football, did you? Because I used to be like quite good at football myself, actually.
Did you play?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I was brilliant, to be perfectly honest. I don't like to show off or anything like that, you know. But like Southampton Football Club, they was after me.
Were they?
Yeah, but I said no. I said no disrespect. I said, but you're rubbish. I said you're just a bunch of scummers. Because that's what we call them, like,
I know.
we just say you're scummers, like, because they're scum,
Unlike
basically.
we call Exeter just really.
Do you? Have you ever met Pele? Have you ever met Pele?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's a nice bloke, isn't he? Because I met him.
He's do you know his full name? Can you pronounce it?
Yeah, Edson Arantes do Nascimento.
He's an old.
How about that? Like,
Isn't that a train station in Wales?
It sounds like, doesn't it? Yeah. Brazil, right, they once sent Pele to ask if I had any Brazilian ancestry. Yeah, see if I could play for him. Yeah, that's right, yeah. And I said, who do you think you are? Jack Charlton? Like, you know.
Because he ain't no Jack Charlton, is he?
No. They sent him to Portsmouth, like, to ask me if I had any Brazilian ancestry.
Why's that?
Like, well, like, see if I could play for him, like, you know.
Okay.
Yeah. Pele said to me, he said, honestly, Peter, he said, you're the best footballer I've ever seen in my entire life. He said, you're miles better than I was when I was your age. He said, honestly, yeah.
And how did that make you feel?
Well, you know, pretty good, like. And he said, if you, like, stick to it, he said, you could probably become the greatest footballer the world has ever seen.
If you stick
like,
to football, that'd be
that's
dead
right,
silly,
yeah.
wouldn't it?
But I could have had all the birds and everything, but I prefer to masturbate, like, really.
Yesterday, Australians watched in horror as their Prime Minister touched the Queen on the small of her back. It was the worst thing they'd seen on their screen since Harold Bishop gave Toadfish a pearl necklace around the back of Lassiter's.
In fact, the Queen actually hasn't been touched down under since Philip took her to see Fatal Attraction, and it's a severe breach of royal etiquette.
So how should we behave in the company of the royals? If you're not sure, just follow our simple do's and don'ts of royal protocol.
When joining the royals for dinner, do...
Always wait for the Queen to start before eating. Don't.
Come in from the loo saying, oh, that's made a bit of room.
When taking the Queen on a tour of a new hospital. Do.
Show her the new operating theatre. Don't.
Show her a lopped-off knacker in a Petri dish.
Remember that the Queen Mum always likes a compliment. Do say...
You have a charming smile. Don't say...
You've got teeth like a gobful of crunchy nut cornflakes.
When trying to accommodate the notoriously stroppy Edward, do...
Bend over backwards. Don't.
Bend over forwards.
When taking the Queen on a tour of a homeless shelter, do...
Try and paint an accurate picture of hostel life. Don't...
Give her a can of Strongbow and check her head for lice.
When welcoming the royal party at the airport...
Do...
Put on a regal reception with a red carpet and a fanfare. Don't...
Put on a rubber glove and tell Philip to spread 'em.
And finally, if you're sat next to the Queen during a gala performance, do...
Offer her your opera glasses. Don't...
Try the old... trick.
And that was our royal etiquette do's and don'ts. Off. Shiver down there. Right, shiver. Get on, I'm scared.
Okay. It's been revealed that Catherine Zeta-Jones and Michael Douglas are expecting a baby boy, but by the time the baby's out of nappies, his daddy will just be getting into them.
So is the generation gap still a problem? I went to Liverpool to find out.
Did you?
With people living longer and longer these days, what effect is it going to have on the generation gap? I've come here to the north, where they still die, mostly aged 40, to find out. Do you remember the good old days?
Yes.
What was so good about them? It's a tough one, isn't it?
It is a tough one, yeah.
At what age do you think that life loses its meaning?
I hope it never does.
Has it not?
No.
Tell me which is your cup of tea. Thora Heard there, would you find her sexy?
Not necessarily sexy, but I find her a nice person.
Does she make you erotic when you look at her?
Yes.
This is Linda Bellingham, of course, star of the Oxo adverts. Is she something that gets you erotic?
Yes, she's a very pleasing woman to look at.
Very pleasing. OK, and finally, this is Denise Van Outen. She's very popular with the kids today. Is she a sexy bitch?
She looks it to me, yes.
Let's take her out for a few drinks, a few bevies, and maybe finger her up.
If it was young, yes.
What do you think you can teach today's young people, apart from how to moan, queue up and dribble?
They go to school, that kind of thing, you know. Education.
Give them a kick up the backside. Give them a bloody good caning if they need it as well.
That's right.
Get the leather strap and strike their legs till they bleed. Hold them up against the wall and get a brick and club it against the wall. Is that...
That's like that, yeah.
OK, that's fine. Do you think it's obscene what some of the young girls go out in these days?
No, it's gorgeous.
You like it?
Absolutely.
You wouldn't mind...
Absolutely.
Do you find that young people... how can I put this so you'll understand? patronise you and speak down to you. Do you find that happens? Really?
I've no respect at
Oh,
all.
and does that... When people do that, does that get on your nerves?
That's what we've done, like 5 years in the army and all that kind of thing, you know, so...
Oh, bless. I'm sorry. So there we have it. It appears that there is a generation gap, and it's a problem that needs solving. I'm off now to try and fill that gap with her. This has been Iain Lee, the 11 O'Clock Show, Liverpool. Come on, love, let's go.
Sometimes it takes a great mind to unravel the key events in our cultural history. Freud, Jung and, of course, Gervais.
Tonight, Ricky Dean Gervais tackles the space race.
First blood in the space race went to the Russians, who in 1957 launched Sputnik 1, the first artificial Earth satellite. Then Sputnik 2, which had on board the first living creature into space, Laika the dog. Unfortunately, the Russians didn't know how to return the satellite to Earth, so Laika died in space. Brilliant. We can all do that. We used to tie frogs to fireworks in Reading. They didn't come back alive either. America was never far behind, but their biggest blow came in 1961, when Yuri Gagarin was given the chance to be the first man into space. He went, "Have you found a way of getting it back to Earth?" They went, "Well, yeah, of course." He went, "Well, the dog thing." They went, "Well, yeah, no, we've sorted it." He went, "The frogs in Reading." They went, "That's not relevant." Anyway, this really pissed off America. And Kennedy gave it, "Right then, it's the first man to walk on the moon, dog killers." My mate, Binksy, right, he's mental, but he reckons that maybe the dog didn't die and that radiation has made him smart and he's going to come back in the future and dogs will rule over the planet, like in Planet of the Apes, but with dogs. I mean, they won't be able to hold guns like Urko did, but then they won't need horses. So, I mean, it's swings and roundabouts. Can I borrow this for a minute?
He's a mucky pup. We have to have a word with him. We'll sort that out.
That's the end of part one. Still to come, showbiz insider Ben Miller reviews the Oscars.
And straight after the break, we've got astonishing footage of celebrity dwarf sex. You don't want to miss it.
1989, and classy tart Pamela Bordes rocks the nation after doing it with tiny sports minister Colin Moynihan. Questions are asked in the House. Who is she? Where does she live? What would she do for £1,000? Tonka whale? Surely not.
That all happened 11 years ago today, and this is the 11 o'clock show on Tuesday, March the 28th. Coming up, Ben Miller, but first it's time for another look at today's headlines. MI6 lose another computer. M says Operation Fuckwit is a total success. New Russian premiere, Ghostbusters 2, finally opens at the Moscow Odeon. James Bond boffin Desmond Llewellyn remembered. Thousands turn up to join the end of Q. The best joke in the show. Inhuman, sterile and poor value for money. No, it's not the new Oasis album, but that's how consumer watchdogs have described Buckingham Palace, branding it the worst tourist attraction in Britain. So where should tourists go instead? Well, Daisy has the answers.
I certainly do, Iain. The big museums always get crowded, but a visit to a lesser-known specialist museum can be equally informative. Why not try Maidenhead's The Story of Rennies? An exhaustive celebration of Britain's premier indigestion mint. A 4-hour guided tour ends with an audiovisual extravaganza in which visitors are led into a giant fiberglass stomach and hosed with real bile. Animals are always a big draw. Pandas are loved all over the world, except in Gwent, where they're rounded up and incarcerated for a minimum of 5 years in Panda Prison, believed to be the world's leading oriental bear penitentiary. Visitors are often moved to tears by the sight of these once magnificent beasts reduced to clanking cups against the bars, sewing laundry bags and bumming the prettiest panda in the showers. London's theatres are often sold out, but you should still be able to get tickets for the latest big hit, Ground Force the Musical. The West End show based on the hit TV programme. It includes the songs Green Green Grass of Home, Everything's Coming Up Roses and Why's Dad Got an Erection? Finally, kids these days aren't frightened by lions and tigers, so... Quick tip, why not take them on a slow drive through Dorset's latest safari park, Pedo Kingdom, in which convicted sex offenders roam free over 40 acres. Just remember, lock those doors. And that was the 11 o'clock show's guide to Britain's lesser-known tourist hotspots.
Very nice. Very nice. The haphazard security surrounding Britain's spying network continues to make the front pages. For more on that story, here's Paul Garner with his report.
British military intelligence services were today reeling from the latest laptop blunder, which has proved them about as capable of keeping secrets on a computer as Glamnont's Gary Glitter. Last week, MI5 admitted that a computer had been snatched from an agent at a London tube station. And today, MI6 revealed that one of its spies had managed to lose his laptop whilst out drinking in a tapas bar. Police believe the MI6 agent may have been the victim of a classic honey trap sting when they discovered he'd not been drinking alone. Today, they issued a photo fit of a stunning Russian-speaking man-eater they believe he spent the evening with. With suspicion centred on the Russians, it is feared the thefts are part of a tit-for-tat espionage campaign, sparked off by Tony Blair's recent trip to Moscow. In light of these high-profile security breaches, the real-life Q has been busy designing high-tech hardware to deter anyone from stealing MI6 laptops. Q has also revealed plans for a new wraparound body brace, which ensures that an agent and his laptop can never be separated. With modern British spies travelling on the tube and getting off their tits in tapas bars, the image of secret agents as suave James Bond types has been shattered. This has forced makers of the classic Bond movies to change the titles of some of their films. Octopussy becomes Octapas Bari, You Only Live Twice becomes You Only Lose a Laptop Twice, and The Spy Who Loved Me is retitled The Spy Who Was Fucking Shit at His Job. In light of these embarrassing revelations, Bond film producers have had to hurriedly recast their next movie, replacing Pierce Brosnan with a more realistic secret agent. This is Paul Garner, the 11 o'clock show in central London.
And now, time for tonight's guest. This weekend saw the 72nd Academy Awards with British talent gathering a clutch of Oscars. The Brits haven't gone down so well in Hollywood since Hugh Grant was sunk to the nuts in a hooker's gob. So who else could we get to make sense of it all than our guest tonight? Please welcome Ben Miller.
Hey, swanky mother! Good evening. Come on, sit down.
Do you want to do your walk again?
Am I facing the wrong way?
Yeah, come on, sit. Calm down. You're swanking on now. You're getting
Swanking on.
big swanker. Now, Ben, it's lovely to have you back here again. It was the Oscars at the weekend, and we know you're a friend to pretty much all the stars.
Absolutely.
So we've called you in to give us an inside track on what went on, OK? Now, American Beauty was this year's big winner. Is it any good?
It's unusual for an American blockbuster because it's not about to sort of fish out of water in the big city kind of thing. I mean, I suppose, you know, it's kind of got some interesting things that are going on in it. And it's got lots of British people in it. One director.
It's the director, so that makes it a British film.
Yeah,
a British film,
absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. It's a triumph. It's a complete triumph. We've stormed the Oscars.
All right!
Hang on, which other Brits picked up
We
all the
did.
Oscars?
Michael Caine. A couple of Brits got nominated for special effects.
Ooh.
For The Matrix. Yeah.
Ooh.
Woo! And a couple of Brits got nominated for makeup, which was a wonderful,
proud of that.
very butch speech, that one. two fey British makeup artists.
OK, so we've got two British makeup artists and some special effects people.
Yeah.
What does that mean for the British film industry?
It means it's completely turned around. I mean, we've
Great.
completely sorted the situation. I mean, a year ago, obviously, the film industry was looking a little bit. It was, it was possibly on the back foot. Now we've just swept the Oscars.
And thank Christ for that is all I can say. Now, one of my favourite parts of the Oscar ceremony is looking at this year's hottest fashions and styles. Who was wearing what? Who had the most outrageous outfit?
2 very wonderful dresses. Cameron Diaz, she wore a very low-cut number, almost down to the little interesting bits. And... Oh, yeah.
I've heard of those bits.
Navel.
Navel. And, her friend, companion, associate, Drew Barrymore, had actually a bit of arse crack showing, which was nice.
Oh, lovely.
A bit of builder's crack.
Yeah, a little bit of sweaty crack. Which is... arse cleavage is the new cleavage.
The Golden Raspberries, the awards for the worst of everything in the film industry, were also announced on the weekend. Who are the big losers?
Oh, this was fantastic. Our favourite film, Wow Wow Wiki Wow Wiki Wow. And one not only worst movie, but also...
You should just explain who that is, in case...
you know, Will Smith, at the forefront of rap music. Wow Wow Wiki Wow Wiki Wow Wow.
Wow, wow, wiki, wow, wow.
Yeah. Will on the ones and twos. Coming at you now all over the time. Wow, wow, we... I just made myself laugh, I'm sorry. Madonna and Sylvester Stallone also nominated as the worst actors of the millennium. Which I thought was harsh.
Madonna has recently announced that she's pregnant. I don't know if you've heard that, Ben. And
she
now,
did, yeah.
Once she's had the baby...
I just picked the messages up before I came out, actually, yeah.
Once she's had the baby, do you think she'll split from Guy Ritchie like the father of our other child?
Speaking as a friend, yes.
OK, Chris Evans has apparently followed in Richard Gere's footsteps by taking in a prostitute and turning her life around.
This is
just like
so
Pretty
good,
Woman.
isn't it? This is the most brilliant story. The other day when I was watching Chris on the television and imagining that I was his friend...
What did you imagine he said to you then?
I imagined that he told me that he'd picked up this what's known as a prosy in a bar. He got talking to her. He rather liked the cut of her jib. They got on very well together. He invited her back on very friendly terms to stay the night with him because she was at a bit of a loose end. She gave him a bit of a sob story in the morning, and he said, "Look, OK, you can stay in my house, all expenses paid, and I'll give you a job at Ginger." So she gave him a job. He gave... I love that. You know, so basically, we've got this new prostitute starting. Could you show Angela around? She's going to be in accounts. She does it for money, but...
On that, I think we should end. Ladies and gentlemen, Ben Miller.
Thank you.
Now time for some news just in.
It's been announced that Catherine Zeta-Jones is to marry Michael Douglas in a Scottish castle. Asked how she came to choose the gnarled, craggy monument, Catherine said it was his performance in Fatal Attraction.
With a study stating that OAPs are becoming addicted to PlayStation, Sony is set to announce a new Lara Croft game, Tomb Dodger 3.
A new chewing gum is on sale that claims to help senile old people remember things. They use it to stick notes to their clothing.
The ex-Bay City roller drummer has been given community service for downloading child porn from the internet. In his defence, he said that after his music career ended, he could never break the habit of bashing away in front of screaming kids every night.
And that was the news just in.
Well, that's about it for tonight's show.
But we leave you with disturbing evidence of a shocking new crime, pet passport forgery.
Good night.
Good night.